Deonna Anderson, Senior Editor at GreenBiz, and I am joined by Subasthika Thangadurai, who is with Team Neocycle. Super excited to chat with you.
Yeah, it's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about Neocycle's solution for the Wege Prize?
Yeah, so our project is based around rare earth elements, which might sound really confusing and a lot of people might not have heard of them, but they're actually the very reason we can even have this Zoom meeting right now. So rare earth elements are found in computers and cell phones and all sorts of modern technologies, but there's actually huge problems surrounding their sustainable supply. And so because the demands are projected to skyrocket and there seems to be a lack of secure supply for them, this is where Neocycle comes into play. And so what our project does is looks to e-waste as a source of these rare earth elements, because there is actually a huge amount of e-waste that just ends up in landfills every year and doesn't really get used. And so that's kind of how our project closes the loop on the e-waste and rare earth cycle. And that's what we're trying to achieve with our solution.
Got it. So rare earth elements, can you share a little bit about like what those are exactly? I feel like I've covered e-waste, so I know a little bit, but for folks who might not know, what exactly are they?
Yeah, so every time you see a periodic table, do you remember the two little floating guys, the two floating rows at the bottom? Those are your rare earth elements. And so often overlooked, they're super important. As I just mentioned, like they're found in computers, like hard drives and computers, as well as cell phone parts, as well as even catalytic converters, which are frequently found in cars and public transportation, and even all sorts of medical technologies. So overall, they're really, really important to the planet and for future sustainable developments. But the problems surrounding their supply seems to be really escalating. So that's what our project is trying to solve.
Got it. So you just mentioned that there is demand for these things. I'm curious if you can share a little bit about how exactly your team is working to extract them and be able to bring them to people who need them, companies who need them.
Yeah, so Neocycle takes a very novel approach to this issue, whereas in I guess current methods of rare earth extraction are very chemical and toxic and really hazardous to the environment. So they release a lot of pollutants and they're just overall not the most sustainable processes. So what Neocycle has developed is a new biological process that is much cleaner for the environment and also at the same time economically feasible. And so I guess our recovery system for rare earths is built around this protein called landmodulin. It's got a little technical name, but it's essentially a protein that can grab onto rare earth elements, kind of like how a lock and a key fit together. That's how a rare earth and landmodulin would fit together. And so the way our system is built is we would feed an e-waste solution through a column that is lined with our protein, and it would just latch onto the rare earths, and then we can later collect them for future technological uses. So it's a pretty simple one-step system. Obviously, the biology is a little bit more complicated than that, but hopefully that's a very general overview of how it works.
Thanks for the general overview. I'm sure it could get very much in the weeds, but I feel like I understand that. What made your team and you want to actually solve this problem? Like, how did you get to this project?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I guess we started off with the issue of e-waste. We realized that it was a huge problem, and even ourselves, like sometimes we'll find like an old cell phone just stashed in a drawer in our house and it's just like totally forgotten about. And we actually connected with our university sustainability office to learn more about these issues at hand and the SDGs that they are, I guess, correlated to. And so the more that we learned about the e-waste issue, the more that we learned about the importance of rare earths, they kind of just meshed together and became this solution that seemed pretty intuitive to us. And then we thought this is really worthwhile exploring because it's also a niche that hasn't really been fully developed yet.
For sure. I recently wrote a story about Best Buy and them trying to like address the e-waste issue and like picking up different electronics from people's homes and things. So it sounds like you all are kind of filling that need as well, which is super exciting. So I'm curious about what inspired you all to actually apply for the Wege Prize, and the potential to get money to help scale your solution.
Yeah, so I guess our project itself started as part of the iGEM competition, and iGEM is the world's largest synthetic biology competition, and our solution is synthetic biology based. And so that's essentially where our team met, and we worked together for almost a whole year actually. And so we started the project there, but it never really got fully developed in terms of the entrepreneurial side and also the sustainability side. And so after that competition ended, we still wanted to do more. Like we still felt that there was a lot of potential in Neocycle and a lot more to bring it, I guess, to the real life stage where we can actually implement some of these really important ideas that we created. And so out of the iGen competition, we decided to follow through with this Wege Prize, and here we are today.
That's awesome that you all like really were like, we need to do this. Let's figure this out. How have you been applying what you've learned so far during the Wege Prize like process, that you've been able to like apply? What have you been able to apply from the process to your project and what you're doing?
Yeah, I think my team has really been loving the way the competition has been designed and set up with the different stages where we get really, really valuable feedback from multiple judges at every single stage. What we really try to do, I guess, every time we get feedback back is to just sit down and I guess address each of the comments or think about what types of research or what kind of stakeholders we might have to contact to deepen our project. And so it's really an iterative design process where every time we go through a phase, it's a cycle of taking what we've got, learning from it, and then building it back. And like the feedback has been so great. And every single skill that we've had to work through, so for example, like designing a business model or actually looking into the cost structure of our idea, those are really new skills that all of us are just learning in these past few months. So it's been a really interesting learning journey.
That's great. Something that you mentioned is the stakeholders that you have to involve. I'm curious about who those people are and like who is the customer for Neocycle?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So one of the first stakeholders that I think was one of the most fun to interact with is we actually went and had field trips to e-waste recycling facilities. Because again, we just know that e-waste is a problem, but we have no idea how it's currently processed and what that even looks like. So we had the opportunity to actually visit two facilities locally situated in Alberta. And the people there were so nice. They actually took us on a tour. They told us about how the process works. And from that stakeholder meeting, we were better able to, I guess, visualize where Neocycle would fit in. And so if someone were to implement our solution, it would likely be some sort of e-waste facility or even facilities that currently refine rare earths or extract them because they would have the technical abilities to do so.
That's interesting. I feel like I want to go to an e-waste facility just to see how things work too. That's really cool that you all were able to do that.
Yeah, it was fun team bonding. Honestly, one of them was in Edmonton, which is 3 hours away from Calgary. So a little bit of a team road trip as well. So it's been a lot of fun.
Cool, cool. So I think this is one of my last questions for you all, or for you. If your team was to win one of the Wege Prize competitions or one of the Wege Prizes, what would you do with the money?
Yeah, that it would mean the world to us to win any one of the prizes. I think um, since our solution is so biology based, there is a lot of costs that go into actual lab work where we have to test this protein, make sure that we have fully characterized it and that it's optimized for, I guess, the maximum rare earth extraction possibilities. And then besides the lab work costs, there's a lot of outreach activities that we still would like to do with regards to, I guess, increasing education about e-waste and why it's such a big problem. And then also increasing education about rare earth elements, because again, a lot of people don't know what they are and they're actually really, really important to us. And so winning the Wege Prize would really allow us to push the project forwards and really take it to the next level that we haven't been able to do so yet.
That's great. I'm looking forward to seeing how the competition shakes out. But is there anything else you feel like we need to know about Neocycle as we continue to learn about the work you're doing?
No, I think that's about it. We have a really great support network. When we started with the iGEM Calgary team, we have a lot of really great advisors and supervisors from the University of Calgary. So I guess I just like to give a huge shout out to them for all the support, even past the iGEM season. That's really, really allowed us to bring the project to life. And then my fellow teammates, of course, our interdisciplinary background really allows us to excel at the work we do. And I think overall, this Wege Prize experience has just been fabulous and a really great learning opportunity.
Amazing. Well, good luck to you and your teammates. I look forward to seeing who wins the Wege Prize.
Yeah, thank you so much.